I love to climb, I love to run. I flew. Through my accident when I was 80 and a half years old. I had an accident. And when everyone yelled so much, we went back, went over with all the trouble. Yeah, it was terrible. But thank God I'm here, and the one foot has screws from the toe to the knee, the heavier foot. I'm here. They didn't take off the foot they wanted to. Anyway, there was tested all the way. I showed kindness because had they known that my lungs collapsed, they would never operate them. And worried about my foot. Lung was torn, my lungs collapsed. Oh, but now, Hashem, 11 years later, so now I was thinking, like I say, what does with the law? We've learned how to make a living out of life. How do we make a life that's meaningful and fearless? And it makes us feel good inside. And makes us feel willing, like you say, to share that goodness with others. So I have a very sweet story that I wanted to start with. And perhaps from there, I can elaborate. You may have heard the story because I love the story. It's very meaningful to me. I actually lived in 2 continents. I grew up in the Mir. My grandfather, my father, and my mother to study in Europe. My father came as a teenager to America. In the years where America opened its doors to all the homeless. You all know what it says on the Statue of Liberty. Give me your poor, give me your homeless. Here, you could live a life of freedom. And everything was wonderful, except for one thing. You had to work on Shabbat. And for a religious Jew, that was very good. Anyway, story, whatever it was, my grandfather grew up there, and he became a wealthy businessman. He dealt in furs. He had come from White Russia, Lithuania, and that was very much a part. Today, who wears a fur coat? Unless you wear a big jacket or a big hat or a big scarf. But people don't wear so much fur coats. We wear these puff coats. Very comfortable with whatever the machine. I enjoy them. But in those years, furs were in. And those years there was no global warming. So people wore coats. I remember my grandfather bought my mother-in-law a mink coat. He was in the rabbinical world. The rabbinical world had more money. My father was in the yeshivish world. I didn't have much money. Anyway, bought my mother, and the money she spent on her 2 children. My husband's 3 sons. He said they want me more than anyone with mink coats with them. At the 3 times that he gave her money for mink coats, was all the relatives were mink coats from the Rabbinish world. The head of his Rabbinic. And what it didn't exist yet, it's all story. Oh. At the 3 times he says, I'll just give the money to the kids. Don't have to sell them. Don't have to sell the money for the mink coat. And then he said, don't worry. I'm very warm in my office. Anyway, okay. So that was my beginning. My grandfather, who saw that there were no leaders in America. America was then centered in New York. There was shuls there was schools, yeshivas, there was Jewish life going on. It was only later that they, like you say, There was a slogan in America in the early years: "Go west, young man, go west." They didn't go west yet. They stayed here. They ran, like you say, some kind of Jewish identity. They were used to it, and they were happy being here. But they were not happy. There were a lot of pogromming. There was a lot of anti-Semitism, hatred of Jews. It was very bad. I don't have to tell you, in York, most of you from England know that a Jew doesn't sleep overnight in Newton. There was mass slaughter in Newton for no reason. So my grandfather sent my parents to me to learn by big rabbis, the original Yeshiva Smir. And I was born right near me in a little clinic. And there I spent my early years. We came back to America in 1935. And my father, not long after that, got a position to be the spiritual leader, spiritual teacher and Rebbe in the yeshiva called Rebbetzin. There are quite a few branches in America. And then in 65, we came to the heritage with the yeshiva. So I lived till I was 4 in Europe. And then till the 1965 in America. And from 1965, with trips back and forth with my entire family still in America. Except for my brother and my parents who came with the yeshiva. So, like I say, I was in 3 cultures.
Did you travel by boat?
What?
Did you travel by boat?
Oh, yeah. My dear, planes were only used in warfare. My Zadie had to pay. He paid for took 2 weeks to cross the ocean. And then my parents, they were a young couple. You say sometimes children, they're so young. Some people are so young, mature, young, and some people at 80 still young. Well, young in spirit is good, but not young in like you say, common sense and basic values, etc. My mother was father already had Smith from Yeshiva Yitzhak Ohana, which was then without the university at that. Anyway, they spent 5 years in the Mir. You have to read the book All for the Boss to know a little bit about life. That was my aunt wrote the book. It's a really interesting book. You'll enjoy it if you like. It's a saga of my grandparents, like that. All for the Boss. It's not, and it's in English.
And I've got one if anybody wants to borrow.
Like say the door to another world.
Mm-hmm.
And I am. It's interesting how different things open doors for people. My aunt never thought she could be a writer. My aunt told me it sold more volumes in the Jewish world than any book except the Bible. It was bestseller and it's how did my aunt become the next slot? She had a very neighbor. At the minute her husband walked away, went out to work with information. He was the English principal in RJJ Yeshiva and very become Chacham. He also was in the Mir. It's beautiful stories about her. It's well made. Anyway, it was a neighbor. Very obvious. She waddled me. She would look, peek out the door, and my Uncle Lee knocked on the door. Hello. I'll just sit down for and I talk to her. I already told it. I think I told her already told. This time I'm going to elaborate, and from there I'll go through. When I was 9 years old, and We had a trip. I was very, kids like it. That day you don't get homework. It's fun. Good. You see things. Oh, we're going to Central Park and the planetarium, and it cost 25 cents. The students in the planet. I was very happy. I'm walking home with my two friends, Yocheved and Shoshana. Shoshana became Susanna, and Yocheved became Jennifer. He had an English name, and my name. Her name in Hebrew is Firma. So Faith Rochelle is not that good. Faith, my mother gave my name over 90 years ago. The Polish embassy, my birth certificate is Faith Firma of China. Heard of my father, maybe Rabbi Schoenberg. I think he used to come to England. Spoke with different schools.
And we used to bring our groups in those days.
Oh, there were only 250,000 people by his advice. He had his door open every single day from 3 to 6 and never had an answering service. He said, nobody calls me in the middle of the night from Nachas. The good news, you wait till the morning. At night, they leave me. We never had an answering service. And that's why there were 250 people that wanted to express their gratitude.
250,000. 250,000.
I didn't feel that he learned. We're talking about the chesed everything. So the trip, and we're walking home, and my two friends said to me, "You're not gonna go. Why are you so happy?" You'll have a testimony. I said, "You happy? We have a trip." He said, "But you won't go." I said, "And why not?" She said, "Because it costs 25 cents, and your mother will not give you 25 cents." Ladies, 25 cents in those years would buy a lot of rolls. We bought today's rolls, 6 rolls for a nickel. Yesterday's rolls, 9 for a nickel. Mama always bought yesterday's rolls. I didn't like them. They were water rolls. You know, the kind that are hard, make them up to a million crumbs. And if you don't eat them straight away, they get hard so fast. And Mama made me dip it in hot milk, and it had a skin on top of that. Every day they would come in when I went shopping. I was 60 years old then. They came. I said, "I have to sell yesterday's rolls, today's rolls, 9 for a nickel." Everybody buys yesterday's rolls. They didn't put yesterday's rolls, ladies, in a plastic bag. They put it in like such a drawer that you threw them in, like a bin. And they got hard. They were so hard. Mama dipped it in tea. Oh, hot coffee. And I had dipped it in milk. She wouldn't let us have tea. So everything he said. I said, everybody buys, and then you could do everybody a big favor. He said, "I'm not in business for favors. I'm in business to make money." I said, "But no one buys them. So you don't make the money anyway." And my father said that if you do favors, that Hashem loves you and he helps you. He says, Hashem should help me make money. So, but one day he had a little, probably the machine slipped or something. And he felt it. He said 6 for a nickel. No one's going to want that smaller roll. They gave it to me in a bag for it. He said, "You never give up." I have to say, today's roll 6, Now, so money was not plenty. My father chose to teach in a yeshiva that was very much like the yeshivas in Europe. They had no money. People used to bring in a donation. Now, from a few donations, it's hard to make a salary. Anyway, The others, he said, he doesn't want to be what we call a social rabbi. Just make parties, etc. What happened? So I'm walking. She continues to talk and says to me, your father, he could really make more money. But I heard him talking to my mother talking to my father. And she said, Rabbi Shine, he'd really make more money. But he doesn't want to be, she not said modern, that concept modern, only 9 years old. And she said, he doesn't want to be a fancy rabbi, only a poor one. Like you learn a whole day. So he doesn't have money. If he cared for you, he would work in a different job. He could get a very good job, because he learned in far away in Europe. He could make more money. And she says to me, and I know that you really don't have any new clothes. All your clothes come from packages. You have family in Florida, and they send you packages. That's why she looks like your clothes. And that's why your mother washes it, yes, it's not new. Because so she's not going to give you 25 cents. Trip. Anyway, come home. So I say to my mother, says to me, no, have school, customary. So I said, okay. She said, so why did your face so low like the Yiddish goes? The Yiddish exile is over 2,000 years. So it's a very nice Jewish expression. Yiddish goes. Why did your face so long like the Yiddish goes? I said, we have a trip, but it costs money. 25 cents in an envelope. Now look, 5 cents, you buy 9 rolls for a nickel. So there's a lot of nickels at 25 cents. Yeah. Even if you buy today's roll, you can buy 30 rolls or the 45 rolls, 10, 5 up. So she said, so $500,000. I told her $500,000. She said, and I said, and she says we're poor. The credit says we're poor, and you won't give me 25 cents. I didn't want to tell her about my father, that my father doesn't care. We were so proud of my father. You know how many people came to ask him shaylos, questions, and ask advice? Because the whole thing, he was a brilliant man. He loved to learn. He went to Europe. 19 and a half, he was married already, experience. And he went to another country, he lived in different, everything he has. He studied there in Europe by the big Rabbanim. So my mother says, we're poor. Sit down, man. First of all, I'm going to give you 25 cents happily and 3 cents for a soda. So you can treat your friends who are only going to get water with syrup. Soda, no? I thought it was something. And she said, now sit down, we're poor. Bring me the cigarette. And she read me, we all said that my father taught me at 6 years old to daven. I didn't learn, I went to what we call a Talmud Torah. It was a little bit maskilish, a little bit modern, but there was nothing else. And that was after school, for 2 hours, when I was once it started, when I was about 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so I knew a little Chumash, I knew a little Navi, I knew a little halacha, laws. You got a smattering of it. And all the rabbinical children, whoever was, there weren't so many rabbis. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, the Dor wasn't there yet. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky wasn't there. He had a few Rebbetzin. They were very, very special. The Kapitchnitzer Rebbe, the Vienna Rebbe, they were wise men, holy, and they were very special. But it was ghettoized. So most of the Freudians lived like in the lower side where I live. Then Williamsburg became another ghetto. Borough Park and Flatbush grew to be a ghetto. That was when we came to America in 1935. Flatbush and Borough Park were farmland. Anyone who had a little farm became very wealthy. Right? Anyway, she said, come. And she points to a tefillah in the city. The tefillah is at the end of the city, the end of the Amidah, the Shemona Esrei, when you stand. And in the city, it says, Shem gave us the Orpanav, Sim Shalom is the start of the tefillah. Sim Shalom to what? I don't want to say, I'll just say it. It's at the end of the tefillah, almost at the end of the city. Sim Shalom. And Hashem gave us, with the light of his face, that means with grace, with happiness, he gave us Ahavas Chai, Ahavas Chesed, Stofa, Rafa, Raham, Chayim, Shalom. I'll explain each one, and then I'll tell you the story. He gave us Torah's Chayim, a living Torah. Ladies, how much we know of the Torah and how much we don't know. We all know, and even the Goyim, the entire world, has taken to their heart, or should have, when they were religious. Religion has gone down in all areas, except maybe by the Muslims. They hold. They have been mosques, and they come. But today, very few people even go to church, unfortunately. Does that? The commandments of the Torah, all of us. It's universally accepted, even by God. You don't have to be a Jew to abide by the Ten Commandments. It was universally accepted from the Bible. The Bible also, the Old Testament, they added a new one, but the Old Testament, through today, serves as a guideline for all religions. No? Correct. So, but when my mother told me, she said, Leila, Torah's kind, it's a Torah that gives life. You know, I compare today to Waze. I don't know, all of you probably drive or know what Waze are, you know, Waze or Navigator, I don't know. I saw the beginning had what they call a Navigator, now we have Waze. Everyone who has God puts on Waze. Waze, in a way, it shows you how to get wherever you have to get. Where there's a restroom, where there's an accident, where there's the store, the highway is stuck. Where, you know, you get happily to where you have to get. And me, and to anyone who studies the Torah, the wisdom there, the guidelines, the values, help us to get wherever we want to with that. Safely. Let's today settle for safe. Where you're safe and feel secure. But happy is a big word. But believe me, today, if you feel secure, you're not like you say, because what I read is, you know, like just the birds calling. You feel good. And that's Torah. Torah's kind. Values. And to get, like you say, with those values. Values, I say, that compare them to clothespins on a line. No matter what storm comes, what winds come, you have good clothespins, they hold the clothes. And values keep us in line. They hold. Wherever we go, no one can take them away from us. We lose money, we lose health, we lose prestige, we lose a lot of things. But values, unless we give them up, we never lose. Yeah. So now I'll tell you a beautiful story about what means values. Let's just go on to, maybe I should tell it to you. We who have Torah's Chaim were given two beautiful tools with which, like it said, to live with others. Prayer and hope. Prayer and hope. In Hebrew, if any of you know Hebrew, I always say when life is tough, maybe it's a tough realities. I think most of you know the other. Tough. When things are tough, we have two toughs, tefillah and tikva. Both start with toughs. Tefillah, prayer, and hope. I had a student, Miss Zelda. Her name was Zelda. Grade 6, 7. Her father was a lawyer. She lived on the east side. I taught in the east side. She was my student. She became a psychiatric nurse, and she worked in one of the biggest drug centers in New York. Over her tachana, her station, she had a puzzle from Tehillim. All of you know the Tehillim songs. We in school, before they took away religion from schools, I remember it was an honor in my school, public school, to read from the Psalms at the assembly. It was a big, I remember it was on such a stand, such a big Tehillim, and it had a red string. And if you were chosen, an honor student, that particular week, you were given that honor to read from the Psalms. The teacher put the string, the red ribbon in the psalm that we had to read, and read it in front of all of them. After we said the national anthem and Star Spangled Banner, and then we had this was PS 92 when I was a over her station, she had a puzzle. It said, Havel Hashem, Hazak B'Yamei Libecha, Havel Hashem. It's in the end of Psalm 27. And she translated, trust unto the Lord, hope unto the Lord. Havei is hope. Hope unto the Lord. Be strong of heart. Hazak. Be strong. B'Yamei Libecha, and your heart will be encouraged, strengthened. Hashem, I continue. If you don't get answered, hoping. That's why it's repeated twice. Never give up. That was her slogan. Yeah. Now, when she was 35 years old, thank Hashem, she became a couple. She got engaged. She met a very nice young man, and she was going to get. So she said to her, she called them her boys. This was the boy, male, drug addiction center in a big hospital. Maybe that was you. I don't remember that. So she said, "Wish me happy. I'm going to be married." And they said, "Miss Zelda, we wish you very happy." And I'm leaving. They said, "Oh no, you can't." She said, "Someone very nice is going to take my place." Miss Zelda. They all looked with dismay at Miss Zelda. And one colored boy, he's 6'5", head of the basketball team. I think all he had to do was stand up and put the ball. 6'5". He got caught on drugs because they give them drugs, steroids. They give them on a heart. And he got hooked. He said, "Miss Zelda, I talk to all of us. You listen. When I come here, I'm very unhappy." He said, "I can believe." He said, "No, not because I'm on drugs, because you're Jewish. I don't know what kind of person, Jewish. I don't like Jews. You know why? I tell you why. I'm black. I'm different. I don't want to be more different. It's enough different to be black. So everybody doesn't like Jews, I don't like everybody. When I can be like everybody, That's better. So I don't mind. And then you come and you take care of it. And I'm all mixed up. You say such nice things. You tell us what this means. You hold us. You give us hope. There's a future for us. We don't have to use drugs. We have other things to give us meaning. You give us guidelines. You do so much for us. You hold our hand. You don't let us slip. When you start to help us, I think to myself, in this place, I have plenty of time. I get help, but I have time in between, and they have a big library, and I read a lot of books about Jews, a lot of books about history, and I find out that, there's so many civilizations. I like history. I like to read. They had the Assyrian, the Babylonian, the Median, Persian. They had worlds back then in the Middle East. And then they had the Roman Empire, all up, down, up, down. And Jews, why? I think, why they still, why their religion, their civilization, it doesn't stop. Then you tell us about hope, you tell us about fear, you tell us about so many things that give us a feeling that there's a future for us. It's so, we colored people, we steal, we rob, we rape. And the Jews, every time, no matter what happens, they get up and they rebuild with that hope, with that prayer. Come back always to the same thing. That's why it's so. I don't want you to go. Nobody wants you to go. He said someone so good is coming. He says, mid-December, I learned a lot of things in life. I'm young, but I have a good head. Don't think because I'm a basketball player, I don't think. And I tell you that a lot of people preach a lot of things, but they don't keep it. And it's a difference between talking about it and living it. You live it, and there's no other person but a Jew like you that lives what you say. They say it, but they don't live it. And to live it is different. That's what you can do. And he was right. Who can keep a Shabbos if they don't taste the Shabbos? You can talk about Shabbos from today till tomorrow. To many people. We have a lot of irreligious people in Israel, lovely people with values. But Saturday doesn't speak to them. They never tasted a Saturday. I had a cousin who lived in Belgium. And during the war, the parents were given shelter by a person they did business with. And her two children were given to the Goyim neighbors, very fine people. The woman was a Goyim in Brussels, they lived. My husband's aunt and became my aunt later. And the husband was a Jew, but no one knew. He didn't look like a Jew. And they grew up there a few years. And though my aunt and uncle were religious Jews, their children were not so religious. They lived for many years, the whole war, by going. And their children were less. They kept many things. I can't say they respected and they kept, but the children less. And when she came to us, we invited her once, my cousin's daughter, Michal. And she said, I never even kept Shabbat. It's so interesting. There's a kiddush and you sing and it's such a nice meal. And then you talk, and afterwards I told you for me. They sang such gorgeous songs. I said, I'll do all the cleaning, just sing. And it was so nice. We walked, we talked. She said, how Saturday is a regular day. Yeah. You know, there's not even so much time to talk and be joy. We're so grateful. But there are a lot of people who don't think what religion is. They hear, but they don't know. Unless, like he said, unless you live it, you don't really do. Takes living sometimes. And that's how it's funny. The values. Like we said, it's you give us hope. But hope isn't enough though, if you don't have some kind of cause to live with. The values. Those are the values in we have our community. We have a lot of values in the community. I'd like to share with you Torah's chesed. What means Torah's chesed? He said, Avas Tov, Torah's chayim. And what about Avas? What is the second thing my mother told me? Avas chesed. What is kindness? People are kind when it suits them. And how kind should we be? And to whom? I'd like to share with you what means kindness to us. My mother, we had one time a crack in the outer wall of our building. The outer wall of our building had a crack. They couldn't relocate us, so they had a policeman who stood outside, an Irishman. My mother was cold. We had to sit the whole time and watch with it. They had to sort of share up the building, and they had to walk part of it. We were open. It was open. You could just walk into the house. So he was in charge. He was in charge to watch. And it was cold. There was no glove. It was so cold. My mother would invite him for hot coffee. Especially he said Friday, my mother would cook and bake for Shabbos. He said, Mrs. Shabbos, can you ever let us taste some of those nice things that we smell, but we don't taste? My mother used to say the children for him on Sunday. Every single Sunday, he had Sunday off. Another man came. Another policeman came. Sunday was his day off. And Sunday, he would come for his potato, golden potato pudding. My mother would put it under the grill, to the stove, and she would give the whole pot to him and his wife. They fixed our building. You think he didn't come every Sunday? His potato pudding? For years he came. Kindness. This kindness. He was an Irishman. But Hashem says you have to be kind to everybody who's made in God's image. Unless he proves unworthy. Because there's a beautiful passage in the Gemara, in our Torah, that says a person is judged by what he does, not by his name, not by his money, not by his yichus, from where he comes, but by his deeds. Ein adam nidon elo lefi ma'asav, according to his deeds. Whether he's a Kohen Gadol, the high priest, or a mamzer. A mamzer is a child born from illegitimate. Like you say, a bastard child, they would say it. Doesn't matter. He's judged only by his months. You know, one time, two Goyim came to see my father. Why? Because at 100 years old, he was still drawing Social Security. They didn't believe it. A lot of people have Social Security from the American government. They never report when the person dies, so they keep collecting. Now, at 100 years old, I'm still living. So they came to see the rep of the American embassy. Two people, two Christian men without notice. They knocked on the door, and my father had a man who used to have the Makitaba, the sham. We used to open the door. He said, you want to see the rabbi? They thought maybe it's the rabbi himself. 100 years old. Still sitting and practicing. He's still a like you say, an active rabbi. Even if he's a rabbi, but 100 comes into the living room. Papa, and see a man, father's 100 years old. The palace still that's filling on his head, but down. He said, how could I help? Well, perfectly, this is my father who opened in America. And he came from so he came there to swear. He was not born in America, he was born in Poland. That's also beautiful. So he says, now one day they say, we came to see if you cheated the American government. Couldn't say that. And then he said, well, you know, I'll tell you why we're here. The American birth certificate is only valid for 100 years. So since you're 100 years, we're going to mail you now a new birth certificate. According to the American government, the archives, my father died at 1.5 years old. See, now, the shaman shouldn't have said anything more, but he did. He said, would you like a blessing from the rabbi? Now, how's my father going to bless two goyim? That's something very nice. He said, you know, he says in our Torah, in our Bible, it says that a man is judged by his deeds. And if he does good deeds, merits much happiness from the one God. All Americans, he says, right? We believe in God. He says it's every dollar in God we trust. And if you do many good deeds, the Lord will bless you. They're very nice. They were very happy. By the way, when they walked in and they saw a yarmulke in the corner, paper box with yarmulke, a box with paper yarmulkes, they put one on it out of respect. I told you about the policeman. My mother had a problem with her ears. She couldn't hear. She had a mastod infection. That's why you give your children always antibiotics. By the way, my husband had 2 mastod operations. And he went swimming. He wore a swimmer's cap. He was not allowed to go to a big one. Go swimming without earplugs and a swimmer's cap. I remember him putting it on. I don't even know how he opened it. He was never allowed to get water besides this. And she couldn't hear. And she was now in New York University Hospital. He was called then postgraduate hospital in my town. It was very sick. They shouldn't have to operate. They were picking up the medicine, looking for word. And with the C, you know, what you give everybody to steroids.
Cortisone.
What?
Cortisone.
Huh?
Cortisone.
Yeah, cortisone. It was then in its experimental stages. Cortisone, you have to take the person's pressure all along the way. Every week I came, whenever I came to visit, I was then pregnant with my 4th child. You have to buy these things for the nurses. I said, Mom, what do you mean for the nurses? She said, look, they're so good to me. I want to help. On Orchard Street, Mr. Selden, you know, he sells over there. But for our family, you can go in and buy. And, you know, this colored woman that takes care of me. Her husband deserted with 4 kids. He left her. I want to help. She's so nice. She only has her own salary. Go into this, she has a whole area there, wholesale, gloves for kids, little, all kinds of little things, you know, and he has little sweaters in the corner you can buy. I asked her, I made a list, and the Chinese nurse, we have no patience here. Life isn't so easy for her. You know, the Chinese, they're plotters, but and she works very hard. Her husband makes pennies. And they said, I've taken every garment baskets, every one of the nurses, this one, that one, that one, this one. You think that kindness is only given to our own? I want to share with you that maybe I should say this to another one. I say this for another one, the one that I said. Here we see kindness. We had a man who came to us. We had a room, rented a room on our block. They told him if ever you want something warm to drink. People in those years, they rented a room. They didn't have a stove in the room. They had a little sink, a little table maybe, 2 chairs and a bed. Bathroom was in the hall, ladies. Our bathroom was in the hall. Our first apartment, our bathroom was in the hall. We had a bathtub in the kitchen, but we didn't have money at that point to buy. There was no refrigerator, but an icebox was a lot of money. We had a bathtub in the kitchen. I was 6 years old. That was our first apartment. We lived with my grandparents for a long time till my father got a job. Then we got this apartment 2.5 floors up, the Suffolk Street in the east side, not far from my parents. Every day I would go down. Mr. Silver, could I have a piece of ice, block of ice, for 15 cents? He would put it in a bag of flour on his shoulder, an old bag of flour. They sold flour in bags, and they used to bleach them. You put it in that bag. Carry up 2.5 floors, 15 cents. There was land, it's called the Golden Land, but the gold was buried so deep under no one. What they found was work. It's a lot of work. They had to work on Saturday. Later, when they changed it, but always we suffered because on Saturday, that they felt that you were willing to give another day, salary was usually better. Doesn't matter for Hashem, when they changed it, it was much easier. Now, what happened? So, with that, where did we put the piece of ice? We couldn't afford an ice box at that point. In the bathtub, it had a drain. We put it inside, and we put all the food around. In the winter, we had no problem. We had a box outside the window attached with 2 pieces of iron, like from an old hanger or pancake. And we put steak was like a freezer. That's just a freezer. But it was summer. We needed a place to keep. So on the ice, so where we take a shower bath? Anyway, smart people. They made the bath. You open the door, there was the bath. There was the bath, a small bathtub, and the top of it was a shayish. A shayish, like, like a, it was like a, it was like a counter for us. Bathroom was in the hall. And the toilet paper. On that with the New York Times. Cut into pieces. You see, the New York Times is the biggest newspaper. She got the most people. And it was on a hook. But I went myself to the toilet. New York. I said to my mother, I'll have a printed back. So I found a way because they sold on Hester Street, people who didn't have money and they couldn't take a store. They had a wagon, and from the wagon they had bushels of food. They went to the outer areas of outside New York City and they brought different things. Yeah, oranges, apples, whatever, vegetables. They went to the farm. Would you say, Mr. Let's say his name is Mr. There were a lot of years in there, but they were also funny. But they were nice, good. Mr. Brown's. Mr. Brown was just making the wrappers from the sun-kissed oranges. The navel oranges were such a cups. They need I put it like towards love of oranges. It's not so good. It's so sore. So okay. Instead of
Gosh, we spoiled it. If it's not, it's gonna be a bad woman.
But I have a mini story.
And you'll have to move in with us.
Okay, so here I want to share with you. It says, I told you, Rafa, Stopka, Rachamim. Here, at the end it says, Shalom, Chai Shalom. I want to share with you another story. What maybe took in a few of those compassion maybe. Shalom, live in peace. We have a long fire. Prove that we have to live in peace with our neighbors. And we have to go out of our way to be neighborly. Neighborliness, shalom. That's why everyone says to everyone, shalom. We greet each other with the word peace. I'd like to share with you a beautiful story. What means living in peace with neighbors? There was an Italian family on our block. They had a son, Tom. They had a few daughters were married. Tommy was the youngest son. And Tommy, when he saw my mother, they said, Scheinberg, don't you carry all those packages? I'm here for you. If anyone started up with us, Tommy, don't you touch her, she's my neighbor. It was World War II. And there was a flag. The United States flag between every two blocks, we had a flag with a block. And on the flag, where there were the stars, were the names of all the boys that were in the Army, Navy, and the Marines. Their names. And when a boy died in action, a fire engine came with a tall ladder and covered the name with a black patch. And he knew that he died in action. One day, during the war, it came to our block where they had the flag between the two highest buildings attached across the whole street. And it said, no, you died from our block. With a patch on Tommy's name. Tommy was killed. We were so broken. We loved Tommy. And we loved the Italian neighbors. They were so nice, Lena. She used to sit outside and always ask for how everybody is. He was such a nice person. Short lady. We used to like to buy Italian houses, because they said the Italians, their houses are like in New Zealand, they live in the basement. They were very well kept. He was the only one who did sort of a little nice frontage, with bowl, tubs, flowers. And my mother asked my father, can we go and pay his condolence call to Tommy's family? And my father said, Midarchei Shalom, live in peace with the neighbor, is our plan. Go. The mitzvah to go. We came, they make a tremendous bread. We never saw fruits and vegetables, salads, crackers. And she saw my mother always took us with her. We were two little girls. My brother was yet, like you say, he went to play group. And she said, Mrs. Shine, my Tommy went. My mother said, it's all morning. Mrs. Scheinberg, you should know I bought all the cake here by Mahadri Kosher Bakery in case should any of the Jewish neighbors want to come. And all the other things by Bistritsky, the kosher grocer. My Tommy would be very honored if you made a blessing for him. My Tommy in heaven would be very happy. If please. And my mother made it often. And the children We have doggy bears. Please make the least package of what you have here. Mr. Chandler, how can I thank you? My Connie and Evan will be so happy. That is great. Ladies, just one of, I just have more stories for the other. I told you about compassion. I told you about kindness. I told you about so many of the things my mother mentioned. And how to make a life meaningful. There's many more stories. But Joanne says,
Heck your day.
so maybe in another opportunity.
Ezra Hashem. Yes. We wait
I
always.
I want to wish you, and that's what let me say.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, please. I'll finish this
all
one's
the
drinking.
world needs. A little more kindness and a little less greed of righteousness, but kindness. A little more giving and a little less greed. A little more smile and a little less frown. A little less memories. A little more weak and a little less eye. A little more laugh and a little less cry. A few more flowers on the pathways of life and fewer on the graves at the end of them. I want to wish you this. I do not wish you joy without sorrow, nor endless days without the feeling dark, nor brilliant sun without the restful shadow, nor ties that never turn against your bark as you should. I wish you love and strength and faith and wisdom. Goods gold enough to help some needy one. I wish you songs, but also blessed silence. And God's sweet peace when every day is.
Beautiful.
So I have that, and I have what the world needs in a little words. Yes, you did too. I did not. The little quarrel starts. That's my unkind little words. Two fun friends were parted. I am son, so am I. Thus the little quarrel ended. That's my loving little words. Two fun hearts were made. It's a very nice sheet.
Are we-
You all have it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I want to teach the world what the world is. The paradox.
Maybe we can just, that's better. Yeah, I'll take it.
Have another one, maybe?
Take it up.
Yeah. Attitude. There once was a woman who woke up one morning, looked in the mirror, and noticed she had only 3 hairs on her head. Well, she said, I'll braid my hair again. I'll braid it. So she did, and she had a wonderful day. The next day she woke up, looked in the mirror, and saw she had only 2 hairs on her head. I think I'll part my hair down the middle today. So she did, she had a grand day. The next day she woke up, looked in the mirror, no, she had only 1 hair on her head. Well, she said, today I'm gonna wear my hair in a ponytail. She had a fun day. The next day she woke up and looked. Everyone
Any part of
is fighting some kind of battle. Love simply, love generously, live simply, love generously, care deeply, live kindly. Life isn't waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the wind.
beautiful.
And then I have what is charity, and that I'll leave you. What is charity? What is, we said, I told you, Stockholm, Brussels, right? What my mother mentioned.
Yeah.
What is charity? What do you think Stockholm is? Just to give money? No. It is silence when your words would hurt. It is patience when you're patient, when your neighbor's curt. Sure. It's deafness when the scandal flows, and thoughtfulness for others' woes. It's promptness when stern duty calls. It's courage when misfortune falls. So here you have another sheet.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What else? So I'll give you one more sheet. You'll never walk alone.
Oh, Thank you, Rebbetzin Altusky. As always, we just wait for the next time that we're going to have you either in London or that we're going to have you back here in Yerushalayim. And really for each and every one of us and the messages that have been coming from Zoom in London. I've had you in London as well. It's such a pleasure just to have you with us, to share your energy. You should just be blessed. And in Mirza Hashem, you should walk straight. Let's do our exercise. And thank you.
Wow.
Can we take a picture?
Yes. So let's do a picture. Okay, Sharon Brand says thank you. Alison Solomon is somewhere else in the world. Sharon and also Alexia was there with us as well. So thank you, everybody. I can't read all the messages.
I have quite a few. Yeah, take this. Yeah, take these copies. Maybe to you. Yeah.
What a great start to the day, Sharon Brand says, and it is only quarter past
Value
9.
is also very nice. I have more of these.
Okay, wait.
Would you like another?
Yeah,
one?
we'll take them.
Something
I'll make
value?
copies of everybody.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
To realize the value of 1 year. That's to realize the value of 1 millisecond as the person who won silver medals in the Olympics.
Yes.
Very nice.
Thank you.